Hey everybody, Obersports here. Welcome to the Week 1 edition of PackTalk. And in this episode, we're going to be recapping Green Bay's recent 17-9 victory over the Seattle Seahawks, and we're going to be taking a look at what they did right and some of the things they also did wrong. The number one thing in this game that got Green Bay this win was the defense. The defense looked fantastic. The run defense held Seattle to 90 yards, and the pass defense held Seattle to 135 total pass yards. And that's really surprising because a lot of us expected the Packers' pass defense to really suck this year, and they came out strong, and they got consistent pressure on Russell Wilson, which limited his role by keeping him in the pocket. The defense was for sure the strongest part of the game. They limited Seattle to only 9 points and no touchdowns. Aaron Rodgers, 28 of 42 for 311 yards and a touchdown. He had that early interception that got called back on a possibly questionable call, block in the back, and then also Jeremy Lane got ejected for the supposedly punching Devontae Adams in the face, which I really didn't see, and I don't think that warranted an ejection, but it is what it is. They had a few mistakes early, like that interception. They fumbled the ball. They fumbled the snap once. They had to burn some timeouts for substitution. They had some personal fouls, and it was a little bit sloppy early on. But one thing that was really good early on was Mike Daniels, and he was good throughout the entire game. He had a career game with 1.5 sacks, 4 quarterback hits, and a forced fumble that led to a Green Bay touchdown and ultimately turned the tide of this football game. Mike Daniels is a really underrated player, and honestly, I'm going to say that I think he's the best player on this Packer defense, at least right now. I expect him to make the Pro Bowl this year. He's a very big leader and plays a very big role in Packers defense, and we're lucky to have him. Ty Montgomery was also a big factor in this game. Montgomery started off shaky, but down the stretch he made some great runs and catches that kept some drives alive and he scored the game-winning touchdown. The touchdown that gave us the lead right after halftime. All in all, the defense was really the big winner for us here. They kept us in the game when our offense was unable to get anything going. They made the game-changing play by forcing that fumble inside the Seattle 10 that led to that touchdown. One thing the Packers really could improve on, though, is the penalties, and I talked about this a little bit earlier, but 8 penalties is too much for me, and a lot of them are costly. A lot of them are just boneheaded mistakes, and it's just something that you can't do when you're in a game as big as this. And this game really meant a lot to the Packers, and it meant a lot to both teams. This game could ultimately decide home field advantage in the playoffs, and I have no doubt in my mind that Seattle and Green Bay are going to be playing in the postseason this season, and it's an understatement to say how huge this game was, and it was a little bit unexpected too. I mean, I didn't think there were going to be a ton of points scored in this game, but the fact that the Green Bay defense was the big winner here is kind of surprising to me. And Russell Wilson is a Pro Bowl caliber quarterback, a guy who makes a lot of good plays, and he made his plays today, but they were able to limit them, and that was the key. Keeping him in the pocket was huge, and the consistent pressure they got on him was huge, and it was all in all just a fantastic defensive effort. Now, early on, Aaron Rodgers, who's you usually think is the guy who keeps Green Bay in the game, he looked really shaky. He had the first drive where he looked pretty good, and then the Packers offense just kind of stalled for the next quarter and a half or so, and we just couldn't get anything going, and it was really frustrating, and at the end of the half in particular, we made a really big mistake by taking 2 timeouts that were really costly because Mike McCarthy thought that he could get the Seattle to go 3 and out. So he took 2 timeouts and said, well, if we can get the ball back with 5 seconds, maybe we could get a long field goal or a Hail Mary. But that backfired as they ended up getting the first down and more. They got inside our territory, then they got down inside our 25 on a Russell Wilson run, and they ended up getting pretty much 3 free points on that. And this game would have even been that close if it not. It wouldn't have been a one-score game for sure. Mike McCarthy pretty much gifted those 3 points to the Seahawks, and we really need to focus on not having such bad time management skills. It's something that Mike McCarthy over the years has not really been the best at. He really is just not good at at managing the clock, in my opinion, and I think it was a really bad move to take those 2 timeouts. But luckily for us, it didn't matter in the end, and Green Bay got the 17-9 win, and that's really all that matters. And this is a huge win going forward. We have to go to Atlanta next week, which is going to be a huge challenge for Green Bay, but one that I think Green Bay can win. Atlanta's defense is not nearly as good as Seattle's defense, so I think we'll be able to put a lot more points up on the board. But the one thing I'm wondering about is this defense going to be able to keep up what they showed us this week into next week? I don't know. We'll have to see. But anyways, guys, that's all I have to say in this video. Thanks for watching. Leave a like and subscribe. I'll see you guys next week for the week 2 installment of Pack Talk.